Morning all. Well, as you can probably tell, I'm standing on a hillside. Last time I was here, I found 2 pieces of gold and I was explaining that the gravel looked good to me. And I thought today I'd come back and more than look for gold, explain to you what I mean by good looking gravel and hopefully show you what caught my eye that made me look here for gold. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be kind of tough because this is a pretty steep hill, so hopefully I can get some shots that'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, now this is a shot from where I'm standing on the path, what I seen, and hopefully this is going to work. Right, this is my pack, and right here there's a rock. And let me zoom in on that. Now that rock is what first caught my eye. And you can tell that rock is different than the surrounding rocks. That is not the bedrock. Okay, this is a shot of the native bedrock. And down here, we have more of it. You can tell it's a very dull gray type of bedrock. Now you can see that our boulder here doesn't look anything like the native bedrock. Now, off to the side here, we have a rock here and here. Those 2 rocks are almost buried, but those also kind of caught my eye. Okay, well let's head down there and get a closer look at these rocks. Now hopefully you can see, first off, this rock is a totally different color. This is the bedrock. So it's totally different color, but more importantly, it's water worn and it has a sheen to it. It's shinier than the other rocks. And then the other 2 rocks, which I think are very interesting. Okay, now these rocks, this may be one rock. Yeah, it is one rock. So this is a really big rock. But same thing, it's different color, it's got a sheen to it, but it's definitely well worn. It's obvious that this rock was in a river at one time. And there are several others, but these 2 here are the ones that caught my eye and made me look here. Now, what we got to do is see what extent this gravel occurs, how far it goes both directions on the hillside, to give us an idea to try to establish if it's a high bench that was left by the river, or if it was an old channel that is coming through the hill and this is where it's exposed. So we'll head over this way, take a look, see how far it goes. Okay, now right here, this is bedrock. My knee is on bedrock. That's bedrock. And I can see bedrock all the way to the river. So basically, I have a continual flow of the native bedrock right here. So I know my gravel's not going to go past this. Now let's spin the camera around and take a look back in that direction. Now, I've only traveled maybe 50, 60 feet over. Okay, now I've just spun the camera around. I haven't moved it. And I'm standing on a really good looking boulder. This is a boulder, that's a boulder. I can see boulders in here that are non-native, well worn. And also, when I was showing you the bedrock, the slope of the hillside is very consistent. It's got a pretty much straight angle. You can see that this is eroding differently. It's got highs and lows, and it's just, the water's eroding around these boulders. It's going down the easiest path, and washing away the gravel, which is much easier to displace than the bedrock is. So it's obvious that this material is definitely different than that material 20 feet over there. So that's another thing I look for, is how the hillside's eroding. And this is classic old channel eroding here. So let's jump back over to where we first started, which is only about 30 feet over here. We've checked off several of the boxes that need to be checked. The large river-worn boulders, the fact that this ground is eroding differently than adjoining ground, the fact that the boulders are non-native, but there's still one thing we're missing that we have to find gold, and that's gravel. And here we have our gravel. We have our, well, it's stuck on there. We have our river-worn small gravel down to, little tiny pea gravel, all in here. So we pretty much checked off all the boxes. This was at one time either a bench or a river. Now we have to establish, is there gold here? Now we've already established that, because right over here a little bit I found a nugget, and then right down at the base of the camera I found another small nugget. So I know this is river gold-bearing gravel. But between the nails and the gnats, it was driving me crazy. Well, it's bright and early in the morning now. I got a lot of energy, so I don't care about the nails or the gnats. Let's see if we can find some gold. When you're working a steep hillside like this, and I don't know if the video is showing it, but it's a steep hillside. I can barely stand on it. You always want to start down low and work your way up, because you don't want to cover up areas to detect. With the overburden, you're going to be digging off here and the rocks you roll. If you start high, you just got to keep moving the same material all the way down, and you'll eventually add enough ground that you can't get down to your gold. So you always want to start low, work up. That way you only got to move the material one time. Okay, well, I'm going to pull my detector out of the pack, get it set up. Let's move on down and start detecting. Okay, well, we're pretty much ready to start detecting, but one thing I wanted to cover is anytime you're on a hillside in the gold country, you're gonna find iron. You're gonna find old nails, pieces of can and such, and that's where a digging tool with a really powerful magnet will really speed up your finding a target. On the hillside, what I do, once I get a reading, I'll just pull the gravel back until I either the target sticks on the nail will stick on my digging tool, but I pull it back until I've moved the target. Once the target is moved, then I can go to where it has moved to, go through the gravel a little bit, and if it's an iron target, it's going to stick to my digging tool. I check it. If there's no target, I move on. It takes a second. To where if you have to dig up and put it in your shovel and check it, every nail, it's going to cut your detecting time in half. I mean, you're going to spend all day finding nails rather than finding gold. So a good, powerful magnet is a must when you're on the hillside. Okay, well, let's head on down and see if we can find some gold. Well, I gotta admit, the gnats have got the best of me. These guys are driving me crazy. Between the nails and these gnats, I've been at it for about an hour now, and I'm finding nothing but nails, but the gnats are just driving me crazy. So I think we're going to shelf this till winter, and when these little guys have froze to death, then we'll come back here, take another look. Let me show you the nails I found so far. Okay, that's kind of a cross-section of the stuff I'm finding. These really fine pieces of wire and these little lead BBs are what's tough. The nails aren't bad, they come right out, but those little BBs and the little tiny pieces of wire and such, they're tough. Well, it looks like I'm going home with lots of iron, a little bit of lead, and no gold today. Well, you can't win them all. I did get to spend a few hours up in the mountains, so I'm okay with that. Now, like I say, we will definitely be back after these little guys freeze to death and do a little more looking, because I've only covered a very small area of this. Okay, well, that's pretty much all we got for this video. No weigh-in at home, so I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful day.